So right here we have a pork tenderloin. The reason I chose pork tenderloin is it is low in fat, high in protein, and it is significantly cheaper than beef tenderloin, but just as tender and delicious. So it's the same kind of process of cleaning the tenderloin. You have this silver skin right here towards the back. You want to kind of you want to get rid of that, and by doing so, you will pinch your knife here, and you're going to kind of cut through and get rid of the silver skin. The reason you do that is because it's very chewy, and it is kind of it's very chewy. We'll get rid of that. So once you have that, you have the silver skin gone. I always season my stuff with very simple salt and pepper. I do a 2-to-1 ratio, so 2 parts salt, 1 part fresh cracked pepper. I have it pre-measured in this cup right here, and I'm just seasoning it liberally on the tenderloin. Make sure that I get all sides, and then we're gonna go ahead and sear it on high heat with minimal oil. You'll hear a nice little sizzle when you start. Now, if you notice, the entire time I've had my left hand on the pork tenderloin and my right hand is doing other things. The reason I do that is I want to make sure that I keep my guests safe and there's no cross-contamination from raw protein to fresh vegetables or raw vegetables or anything like that. So when you're doing this, try and focus and make sure that you use one hand for touching the raw meat and one hand for doing other things like seasoning or grabbing the oil, seasoning the salt with the salt and pepper. High heat. We're going to make sure that it's almost smoking. We have oil here. Use a liberal amount. You see how it's smoking? That's good. And you're going to put the pork down away from you. When you go to do it, turn down the heat so the high heat won't catch fire and potentially burn your plate down. Once you hear that sizzle, kind of move the oil around the pan, and then turn it back up to almost to full heat. While that's searing, I'm going to go wash my hands and get ready for the next step. So after about 3 minutes, and it turns a nice golden brown, nice crust, this is a good sear. We're going to throw it in the oven for 350 until the temperature, the internal temperature is 135. Pull it out, you'll let it rest, and that carryover cooking will get it to the 145, which is perfect temperature for that pork tenderloin. Now, just keep going. So I just took out the pork tenderloin. I'm letting it rest over there. And as a reminder to myself, I always put an oven mitt on there so I don't grab it with my bare hands and burn myself, because I've definitely done that and it hurts a lot. So now it's going to be a quick process. If you feel the pressure and you need to turn it down, turn down the flame. We are going to cut the strawberries and get it ready for the strawberry old-fashioned sauce that we are going to be making. Cut the greens off, set those aside, and then it's going to be the same type of flavors that you normally find in the old-fashioned sauce. I have right here, I have the bitters, the bourbon, and instead of the cherries, we're going to do the strawberries. So I'm going to cut them into 6, cut them down the middle, and then 1, 2, down the middle, 1, 2, down the middle, 1, 2. Now you still hear that sizzle. I'm going to saute the strawberries for a quick second. Get all that nice pork flavor. You can use a spoon to stir them around if you'd like. The reason we're doing it in the same pan is we're taking advantage of that delicious pork flavor and kind of keeping it all in the, using as little waste as possible. So we'll turn up the heat. And after that, I'm going to use my infinity barrel. My infinity barrel, it's not a specific bourbon, it's a mixture of whatever I have left. So I can't really tell you what's in it, not because I'm trying to keep it a secret, but because I don't know what it is, but I know it's delicious. And I can use it for cooking purposes or infusing stuff like that, rather than using the good stuff. So I'm going to remove from the flame, I'm going to pour the bourbon in there, hear that sizzle, give it a nice little stir. Once it gets back on the flame, be prepared for it to flare up. That's going to be the alcohol cooking. Now, you can tilt it a little bit, just like that. Again, be very cognizant and be very careful. My wife is probably murdering me right now because of the flame. If you want to blow it out, turn down the flame and blow it out like that. Then you turn back the heat and bring it back up. Once the flame is out, you've cooked off the alcohol. Then you put your couple dashes of bitters. 1, 2. And your homemade stock. I'm using vegetable stock right here because it's the quickest and easiest way. That's a different type of video. But I'm using vegetable stock right now. You can use chicken, you can use beef. Turn that on high. Give that a little stir. You'll let that simmer at a rolling simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes. Once it thickens up, you'll take a couple pieces of butter, you'll turn off the flame, you'll take a couple pieces of butter, and you'll just swirl it around. That'll be your delicious strawberry old-fashioned sauce for your pork tenderloin.